Yikes, he got very quiet. That's very scary. Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm McKenna and Holland's grandfather. They're adorable little 1 and 3 year old girls who have stolen my heart, which makes me Dominic's dad. And Dominic is a 30-year-old guy in finance, probably because he lived with a guy in ministry his whole life and was like, I got to make some money because we're going to have to take care of mom and dad later. I spent most of my life known as Ray and Nina's son. My parents were sort of famous people in their circle. My dad was a longtime pastor and a specialist in cross-cultural death. He's studying the dying in cultures, how people pass and how cultures handle that experience. And he spent his last 10 years as a hospice chaplain walking with families through death's door, which I was always like super morbid, especially introducing him, because he would introduce himself, say, hi, I'm Ray, I'd love to talk to you about death. But he somehow made it fun and enjoyed that walk. He has passed. My mom, who was on the very first plane that landed in New York City following 9/11. She was in relief, worked for a relief agency, and so she was on the very first flight, sat in the meeting with Mayor Giuliani at the time, and they talked through how religious organizations could come alongside first responders and others to help in relief and in support folks at that time. So they blazed hot trails for me. And I just try not to let them down as much as I can. My mom would love to be here. She thinks that because she's about 80 that she shouldn't travel as much. But also she teaches Tai Chi and she's head of the ushers at church, so she can't really get away. Most importantly, I'm Angie's husband, and Angie is a cybersecurity specialist. When she describes to people what she does, I don't understand any words that she's using. They're all long or they're acronyms and none of them make any sense, and she's tried to dumb it down for me. I've used ChatGPT to try to interpret it. I still don't really know what happens. I know that there's scary things that happen in the world that she helps it be less scary for companies, organizations, and now schools. She's left the private sector and is now working with me at Global Student Solutions, walking alongside international schools, making technology work for schools, which is very exciting. She's running the operation from our home in Indiana, and while I've been here, I guess I should at least clarify why I'm here. Like you, I'm also new. I arrived here after school ended, and I may be gone before school starts. We don't know yet. I'm the interim director. I signed a 3 to 6 month contract while a new director was found, and we found a new director. So he arrived yesterday. Once he is on the ground and running, then I will move into advisory role, and once the transition seems settled and rolling, then I will get out the way and let the very talented and impressive leadership team at HOPAC run with it. So I use a lot of sports analogies, so I apologize for that. But this morning is about you guys and welcoming into a new phase. For some of you, it's literally been a long journey, like a physical, there were flights involved in recent days. For some of you, it's more metaphorical, more of the story. It's been a long journey to be in this spot. But for all of us, we're on a journey and we're in this place and we are now sharing this time together, however short or long it happens to be. For some of you, this will be the first day of, this is the direct steps before your retirement party. Right? You're just going to you'll be here the whole time. For others of you, this will be a phase, a period of time in your journey. And then your next place, you will take what you've learned and gathered from here in relationships and experience and take it on to the next place. And all of those things are beautiful and exciting and also could be a little terrifying. I wanted to tell a story this morning. When Delisha said I got to do this first devotional this morning, I was like, well, that's cool. And she said, sometimes, we sing and lead songs. And I was like, yeah, that would not be a peaceful way to begin if I were leading you guys singing. But I do like to tell stories, and so I'm going to tell a story. But let me start us off with the word. By the way, I'm recording this because I have people that question whether or not I have a job. And so I take some videotape from time to time so I can at least send evidence. I wish that were just a joke. It's actually kind of true. So as we get started this morning, just take a moment to be still. If you've traveled a long ways, whether in your career journey or in physical journey, take a moment just to reflect on that journey. Think about why you chose to be on this path. As I say in coaching all the time, take deep breaths. You have time for the oxygen to get to your brain. Calm spirit. From Matthew 11, come to me, all ye who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. I was trying to do the math. I can't tell you how many years ago that I first landed in Tanzania, mostly because then I'd have to admit how old I am now, but it's been more than 40 years. My family arrived in January and we went to Musoma to study Kiswahili. And after a couple of months, we moved to Babati, which is in the Arusha area. And we spent that year in anticipation. So we get to November and our things that we sent from America have still not arrived. So we're still living in, and I'm 11, so I've grown. So all my clothes, all my pants are shorter and clothes don't fit, and it's like the whole experience. And it's not today, there's no mall in Babati. There's probably still no mall in Babati. But we would go to Arusha and to pick up packages that would be sent from the US or things that would arrive. And there was a mission station there that would have things we'd connect with. So we would drive up once a month or so. But we get to November around what in America is called Thanksgiving time, which had no calendar reference for us in Babati. And we see in the paper that our ship has arrived. Like literally our ship came in. It was posted there. It had the name of the ship. We knew our stuff was on it. And so my dad got in the little short wheelbase Land Rover and with one of his buddies, and they take off to Arusha to make their way here to Dar es Salaam. I love how stories come together for a circle. And left his wife, it's just I left my wife in the US. He left his wife in Babati with their two little kids. And he takes off. No cell phone, by the way, or WhatsApp. And he took the car. So I don't know how my mom was feeling at that moment, and I should ask her before she passes, but I'm a little scared to open up terrible trauma. What I do know is that the notices from Arusha kept coming in the mail, saying that we've have packages that have arrived in Arusha. You should come pick them up. We would get letters in Babati, but they wouldn't send packages on. They had to clear customs, so you have to go and sign. And so these packages kept coming, and no word from my dad. Nothing. So he's been gone since November 23rd. It's now December 23rd. So he's been gone a month. We've heard nothing. And so in the wisdom that comes only from some divine place, my mom put her 11-year-old son on a public bus to Arusha. And I had a mission. And it turns out 11-year-olds can do missions. My mission was not to get off the bus till I got to Arusha, go to the post office, get the packages, and then find Madeline Hoops, who's a missionary and lived in Arusha, and see if she's heard anything about our dad. So I did that. I rode the bus to Arusha. I got off. I made my way to the post office. Arusha was a tiny town then. Very easy to find the post office. I went in. They already knew me because there's not a lot of 11-year-olds who've been given the task every month of going in and picking up packages. So I waited my turn in line, got the packages, hoisted them up, tied with string, because that's how you do it, right? And I walked then to where I believed I could find Madeline Hoops' house. And it turns out she lived in a neighborhood where there's only one other white lady, so that worked in my favor. I could follow the white lady crumbs. I got to Madeline's house, and when I get there, I know I'm in the right place because our truck is there. That little short wheelbase Land Rover is in her drive. I was excited for about 3 steps, and then I realized it's very dirty. It's been sitting there a month. So I go in, talk to Madeline. She hasn't heard from my dad since the 21st when he dropped off the truck and got on a shipping truck and rode it to Dar es Salaam. Hasn't heard anything. Well, my mission is now complete. I have the packages. I know the process. I know that we know nothing. And so I went to sleep on her floor with the plan to get the first morning bus back to Babati to deliver my message. And before sunup, my dad woke me up. Now, his story is way longer, and he tells it with way more detail. And it's very harrowing. But from my end, all I knew was my dad was there. I got a huge hug, and we got together in that Land Rover. It started, which was kind of a big deal. And we followed a truck that had our things from America in the back, and we followed it to Babati. And that was Christmas Eve. So there will be times when you will wonder if God really called you here. Are you the brunt of some horrible practical joke? There will be days where you will question everything and wonder about everything. In the 11 months that my parents and I lived in Tanzania, the first 11 months, 1 month of that, we didn't know where my dad was. I mean, had no idea. So there will be those days. So just on those days, however many of them string together, and you question whether or not this was a good call or not, remind yourself of this day when you were sure that God was a part of the plan that had you here. We're sure on staff and leadership that there was a plan for you to be here. You have something that HOPAC needs. You have skills, experience, an attitude, a presence. You're here for a relationship with a student that you haven't even met yet. There's a reason you're here. And there may be days, months, weeks that go by where somebody forgets. And then it's our job to remind each other, you're here for a purpose. You're here part of a bigger picture. I got on a plane coming here with a lot of unknowns about how long it would be, what it would be like, what kind of mess HOPAC was in, and how much work was it going to be to dig them out of this mess. And it turned out that this was exactly what I needed. This was a blessing to me. I got to sit in a Swahili-speaking service and sing choruses that, while I'd never heard that particular chorus before, I knew it. It was familiar to me. The guy sitting next to me said, "You're at home here, aren't you?" And I was like, I think so, right? Home is where the sights and sounds and smells remind you of yourself. And I hope HOPAC becomes a home to you. I firmly believe that we all are blessed with the opportunity to have multiple homes. It's a good thing I believe that, because we had a literal sign in our house that says, where this sign is, your home. And we moved that sign a lot. And for students in your class may be the stability, the home they need. For your parents, you might be the rational adult that they can connect with and share the burden of rearing a child, which is a burden, and sometimes it's a heavy one. And sometimes they need partners in that, and that's what we do as teachers in school. So this is exciting. I'm excited for you, but I also know what's coming. With all the joys, when they come, celebrate them. Never take the joys for granted, because there can be long gaps. My uncles, several of my uncles are farmers. Farmers are great reminders, and they're great role models for teachers, because they spend a lot of time preparing for planting. Then they plant seeds, and then nothing happens for a long time. And it's the perfect illustration of teachers. I planted seeds in students that I get a WhatsApp 20 years later saying, that seed you planted, Mr. Martin, that seed you planted bloomed. I just wanted to let you know it bloomed. Now I know what you were talking about. I thought you were crazy, which still may be true, but I know what you're talking about. And so you won't necessarily see each individual harvest, but when harvest comes, enjoy it, celebrate it, throw those little parties because they make life worth living. God, who gathered us from many places to be in this one room, thank you for Safe Safari. We may have tired bodies, we may have nervous souls, but give us the rest that's deeper than sleep. Make us this week into one household, and let the welcome we've received become the welcome we carry to each child we come in contact with, who walks through these gates and into our rooms. In your name we pray. Amen.